Welcome to Collaboration Conversations. I'm your host, Regina Partain Bergman, and I am delighted to have another co host and a beautiful group of panelists with us today that I can't wait to get to know better and to explore their views on collaboration and how we change the world through collaboration. But let me first start with my guest co host today. My guest co host is Dina Legland, and Dina is an author. She is an inner warrior coach at Wellness Warriors for Life, where she is the owner of Wellness Warriors for Life. Welcome, Dina. Great to have you here today.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be here today with all of you amazing, powerful women that I have here today,
I
including
can't
you,
wait to meet
Regina.
them. Thank you. So, Dina, tell us a little bit about your journey. What has brought you to this place in life, who you serve, and why they're important?
Oh, I'm going to try to make this short. I actually went through a huge weight loss journey back in 2010. I lost about 110 pounds. And I got to be the healthiest I could ever be. And then 6 years later, I got diagnosed with an aggressive form of breast cancer. And it's just so amazing on how life throws those curveballs at you. I was a nurse. I was an EMT. I took care of everybody in the family. I'm going to talk about that middle child syndrome thing going on.
I'm one of those.
Yes, I think we talked about that. And I had to realize at that point what I was most afraid of. I was most afraid of not being loved and being judged because I had to take care of myself first. And I'm putting myself in that category amongst all women because that's how we do things. We take care of everybody else. But it was that journey that made me realize, and I discovered a 4-stage process of letting go of that fear. And I say that cancer saved my life and my other fears almost killed me. And these fears stemmed back from childhood. And I have learned to work through them. These fears do not go away. They do resurface. I've just learned how to use my tools and strategies to get through them better. And I say that I help professional women let go of these fears that feel toxic like cancer so that they can live a life that is filled with joy, inner wellness, peace, and have the freedom of, really owning into their inner self, their inner warrior, and not feel guilty about it. I do serve women that are in remission, but it has totally pivoted because of collaboration, which we'll get into, on how I can serve many people, because healing from fear is ongoing. And, that's something that I'm just so passionate about. And that's how Wellness Warriors for Life came into existence.
That is awesome, Dina. And I love that because many of us are held back by fear in various areas of our lives.
Yes.
And so that is beautiful. And I'm really grateful that you're able to bring that to the world.
Thank you.
Awesome. Dina, you have brought with you today a beautiful group of women here that I can't wait to meet. And as you said, they are all powerhouses. I am excited to learn more about that. Would you please introduce our panelists and have them share about their journey, who they serve and why?
Absolutely. I'm just going to go around in the way I'm seeing everybody.
Okay.
So I want to introduce Kathleen Garito. And Kathleen and I have met through networking, and I actually hired her for her business, which she will explain what she does and who she serves. So Kathleen, go for it.
Okay, I'm Kathleen Garito with KG Interior Design. My journey started, I was in retail, very successful for 21 years. And towards the end of those 21 years, we decided to adopt my daughter. And I knew that I never wanted to travel like I traveled. But interior design was innate in me, I think, at birth, because I've always loved it. But I was scared to take a leap of faith and start my own business because I was so successful, making good money, but I knew I never wanted to miss any of the first, any of the gymnastics, any of the now pole vaulting meets. And so I took the leap of faith and went back to school to earn my degree and start my business at the same time. Wow. And I always believe that, like for me, that no job is ever too small, because I believe that our hearts rest in our house. And if our house is chaotic and is not restful and is not peaceful, that's how we live our lives. And so I take really more of a holistic approach when I do my interior design, because I want people in chaos to come home and be able to rest. And so I do anything from consulting all the way up to knocking out walls, doing kitchens and baths. And I love working with Dina, and I cannot wait to finish her project, because she's going to come home and be like, I never want to leave again. I just want to stay in my home. So, my clients become my friends and my family. And again, no job is ever too small, because I can even consult and turn an apartment or a home into some peaceful, beautiful, tranquil place.
Nice.
I love that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So next, Vida Calhor. Now, Vida and I have been friends for a little while as well, and I feel like I've known her forever too. All the women here that I invited, I feel like I have known them since childhood. That's the kind of bond and collaboration that we have. So Vida, tell us a little bit about what's been going on with you and who you serve and what you do.
Good morning, ladies. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm super excited to learn from all of you. Thank you, Dina, for inviting me as well. And for me, I actually was in healthcare for over 25 years in executive leadership. And I decided last year that I was going to just get out of that, because I felt like I was stuck in a place of abuse mentally in the workplace. And I felt like, there was no gratitude for the amount of work and love that I was putting into the work that I was doing. And so I decided to leave. And it was a really scary decision. I didn't realize it at the time, but when I left, it just all hit me. And I found myself in a really bad and dark place where I was so depressed, and I felt like life was over. I felt like there was literally nothing left. I had no longer, the income that I had. I no longer had the title of, being this executive when people asked me, what did you do? And so I felt like I was, worthless. And I went to see a friend, and she, sat there and talked to me for a while. And make a long story short, she said at the end of it, when was the last time you said I love you to yourself? And I thought she was crazy. I was like, what do you mean? My life is over. You're asking me why, when was the last time I said I love you? And so she asked me to go to a mirror in her office. Of course, she had one. And she said, go ahead and tell yourself I love you. I went up to the mirror, ladies, and I could not do it. It was so embarrassing. My mouth wouldn't open. I felt so embarrassed. I felt so angry and sad. And I started crying. And she said, it's okay. You're going to try it again later, and you'll be able to do that. So I left her office. I went in the car, put my mirror down, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I kept saying, I love you. I love you. I love you. And every time I said it, instead of it making me feel better, it made me feel worse. And to the point where I literally said, I hate you. And when I did that, immediately I felt, and I'm a Christian, so I felt like God was saying, wait a minute, hold on. How can you hate yourself when I, who you love, resides within you? And when I heard that in the spirit, I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. So I repented, went home. The next day, I woke up and I said, okay, I don't want to hate myself. I don't want to hate my life. So what can I do to be, to make things happen? I went on a walk, and I found myself in the same place. I was walking, but it wasn't making me feel better. And so I started praying, and my prayers were more like complaints than anything else. And so, I said, God, what can I do? I'm still not feeling better. I'm still in the same place. And he gently said, what about trying to be in gratitude? And so I was like, gratitude? Wait a minute. What is, like, how am I going to be grateful in this moment, right? There's nothing to be grateful for. I don't have a job. I don't have income. My husband's, having to do all of these things. So it was just really weird to hear gratitude. And so I'm like, well, where do I start? And I looked at the grass and I said, you know what? I'm grateful for the grass. It's beautiful. I used to love walking on the grass when I was a little kid. I looked up and I saw this airplane go by. And I said, thank you, God, for the airplane that brought me to this country so that I can have the freedoms that I have. And so as I started doing that, I saw this weird shift in my mindset from being in a place of, there is no opportunities, there's no way to move forward, to all of a sudden, oh, I'm going to call so-and-so and see if they maybe have an opportunity, or, you know what, I can work on this other thing. And so that's when my gratitude walk started. And I did that for about 3 months for myself. And through that process, I realized I need to do something for the community. And so I started a gratitude walk for the community. And Dina's been to them a few times. And it's a way to be grateful for where we are in our life in this moment. And I am also a Christian life and business accountability coach. And about how to be grateful in your life and in your business where you are right now. No matter what's going on, there's always a way to look at the challenges in a positive way and have it help you to overcome them. So, gratitude is a big part of my life, and I try to, bring that wherever I go.
I love that. If I could just say, go ahead, Dina, and then I'd like to comment on that too.
That's amazing. And I have attended multiple gratitude walks. And actually, my husband came with me. And I have to admit, he was just so taken back by the whole thing. And Vida allowed me to speak at one of them, which she does at the end of her gratitude walk. She has a speaker. And it's just so amazing. It really is so heartwarming. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Gratitude changed my life, and keeping a gratitude journal changed my life after my husband passed.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I totally resonate with that. And you gave me goosebumps halfway through there. Okay, Dina.
I like calling them truth bumps.
Truth bumps. I like that.
Actually, a business mentor of mine talks about that, and she doesn't call them goosebumps. She calls them truth bumps.
I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our next runner-up is Maggie Judge. Maggie and I have a very different bond. Maggie, may I share?
Of course.
I know.
I'll be doing the same.
Maggie and I met when I was doing a live Facebook group called The Breast Connection, where we brought women together who have gone through breast cancer or were going right through it. Maggie heard me speak. Maggie and I were diagnosed with the exact same breast cancer, but very separate, very different journeys. And we just clicked, and here we are almost 3 years already. So Maggie, please tell everybody about yourself and who you serve.
All right. Thank you, Dina. And my journey included a ton of focus on my corporate, followed by just the corporate world and the corporate hustle, followed by entrepreneurial ventures and external time, energy, and attention. That sums up sort of my background. And then in 2020, as Dina had mentioned, breast cancer happened, which I am grateful for. Thank you, Vida. But it threw me into what I call a beautiful transformation. And the changes that came from it have been just so meaningful and impactful for me. And the obvious changes, I always say, are the ones that the doctors go to work on right away to get the cancer out of me, right? The not so obvious changes were the hardest. And they were the personal changes I had to make for the sake of my well-being. So I had to learn how to show up for myself. And this diagnosis triggered just an unexpected, critical shift in the vision of who I wanted to be, how I wanted to show up, what I wanted my life to look like. And I needed to be done with the hustle, the workaholic tendencies, the achievement madness, I call it. However, it was quite the journey to figure that out. And I'm still on it. I'm still on it, right? And I have to say that as I was going through it, and Marla is going to speak here as well, but Marla has just been at my side helping me navigate all of that. And as I was going through it, I had a really hard time finding the resources to support this kind of a shift. So to honor and continue my own transformation, I created Love Me Healing so that I could help myself and other women create that shift for themselves. So Love Me Healing is about helping women reconnect to themselves, to create a vision that they want for themselves, that they truly desire, and to practice loving themselves, who they are, how they are, as they are. And I always say it's about loving themselves forward every day, which is a personal commitment to yourself, which is a personal practice that evolves as we grow and learn. And it's an everyday thing. It's just this bold step to show up for you more. And it truly is, for me, it's truly helping me continue to include myself in my priorities and be intentional in my own vision for how that shift needs to keep happening for me.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
I honestly believe that we transform, evolve, shift, all those words that we've all been saying, I think every single day. And being able to realize that it's happening and giving yourself the grace and the permission to allow it to happen. You don't always have all the answers.
Yeah.
You know, we're always on that go, 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 that hamster wheel, that, you know, that sometimes corporate mindset. Because
Right.
I think we all have been in corporate. I
Mhm.
know as a nurse, I was in corporate, and as a leader in nursing, corporate. So it's amazing on how we need to slow down and look at things differently. So with that said, I'm going to go to Marla. Marla, I have met through Maggie, and it just has been an amazing collaboration, an amazing friendship and journey. So Marla, please tell us about yourself.
Thanks, Dina. And I am a recovering perfectionist. I am learning new habits and practices for myself. I'm in my middle chapters of life and just learning to start over, if you will. I met Maggie probably 25 years ago. I'm really going to date myself here, but we met in the corporate world. And at that time, I had 2 young kids. I was balancing a corporate full-time career. I was making dinner every night, balancing all the things that we have to do. And I lost myself through all of that. I lost who I was. And so I left corporate in 2019 when I just was at the burnout stage. I just couldn't do it anymore. I had to make a big shift. And in that, I reconnected with Maggie. We had stayed connected off and on in our different ventures, but we kind of came back together and collaborated on some stuff. And she was like, "You want to be on my team? Help me." So we got connected, and we were, and then she, as she pointed out, she got her breast cancer diagnosis. And so we were working on different projects and things, and also balancing her recovery, her healing, her finding ways to support herself. And I was so inspired because I felt like all women need this. All women need this sort of reconnecting with yourself, prioritizing yourself, and I need it. So it just kind of blossomed into this thing where we could serve all women, even though what started as sort of a breast cancer support. It grew because it's just universal for whatever each of us are healing from. We all have some things that we're navigating and trying to reconnect with ourselves and practice better ways to prioritize ourselves and find ourselves in that to-do list for the week, because I needed that. My husband says, as I collaborate with him on all things parenting and life, he says, well, you just made it look easy. I didn't know you were suffering. I didn't know you were having challenges. And it's like, but inside, all these warning bells are going off saying you can't sustain all of this. So I think getting back to my heart and to who I am has just been transformational for me too. And I'm blessed to be with Maggie on this journey to help other women find themselves too and make themselves a priority.
Very nice.
That's great.
Yes.
Go ahead. Regina, were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just thinking, isn't that what we do as women, is try to make it look easy and hide all of that. And so people really don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. When I was going through my journey as well, I worked full time, and people were like, "What are you doing here at work?" I was like, "Well, there's nothing wrong where I can't work. Like, I don't get this. That mindset just didn't happen." At that point, I was working for a college, and I said, my students need me. So once again, as a leader, as a provider, as, women, that's what we do. But I really want to introduce Christine Roberts, who has helped me personally and my husband with what she does. And I met Christine in a in-person networking group, and we just once again hit it off. And Christine, please tell everybody about you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Dina, for inviting me and to be amongst these amazing women whose really your stories have all resonated with me already. And it's like part of my journey. Vida, like you, I am an immigrant. And so we come to America, this beautiful place, and see that there's so much opportunity here. And it's my job to take advantage of it, right? So I spent, I come from the Caribbean mindset of you get your education, you get a good corporate job with benefits, and you essentially probably will work yourself until the very end, right? And in that process, in the 20 years that I was in corporate, I let a lot of things go. Right, I missed a lot of important milestones in my children. I was a single mother for most of that time, and I missed a lot of milestones. I attended college during that time as well. So I was working full time, have two beautiful sons, and going to college full time and trying to manage all of those things. And was lucky enough, I was in healthcare as well, climbed the ladder, ended up in the C-suite, and that was the goal. The goal was to be able to support my children in a lifestyle that everyone else had, and it came at a cost. It came at a cost. My mom got ill. She was a nurse as well, so that's why I have an affinity for Dina. And she got a very rare form of cancer, passed away in 6 months, and it made me. And I couldn't spend the amount of time that I wanted to spend with her. And that was it. I started looking for options on how can I do what I do for all of these other companies, right? I increase your profits, I increase your efficiency. How can I do that for myself in a way that's going to give me time? Right. So that hopefully, as I turned 50 and my children will be having children at some point in the next few years, that I could be more present for my grandchildren than I was for my children. I could be more present for myself than I was for the last 50 years. And that's where Intention Enterprises comes from. And the name is intentional. Absolutely. The name is intentional. And the idea behind all of that is to have a life or a business with a plan that has a purpose, and it includes a process, right? So for me, process and planning gives me peace. And I try and explain to my clients that the process and the planning will give them profits and give them peace.
There you go.
We take a holistic approach when we work with our clients, so that they have they get to regain a little more of their time, and they don't run into the same stumbling blocks that I did when I devoted my time to corporate. So Intention Enterprises is here to tell you your story about your numbers in a holistic way and help you reclaim your time.
Awesome.
Powerful.
Wow. Truly a joy to be here with each of you and to learn of your stories. So I have a question. There are people who are listening to us now, and I mean, they're men and women, obviously, who are going to listen to this. But in particular, I'd like to stay focused on the women, I think, for a moment. What would you say to that woman who's listening to this, who might be struggling right now and doesn't have those supportive collaborations in her life like you folks do? How do they begin? What do they do? How do they get that in their life in order to support them through this journey? And feel free to, Christine.
I and I think I've told Dina this. I am not a girl person. Like I don't have women friends per se. I didn't have my mom was my friend. I don't have a women outlet. Like that wasn't my thing.
Right.
But what I found as an entrepreneur is that you have to ask for help, because this journey is not meant to be done on your own.
Yeah.
It takes so much longer to do it on your own. But when you collaborate, you go so much further, so much faster. And I think that's the mindset for me. The mindset shift is, I want to make this successful. And how do I make that successful? Because there are two things I want. I want success personally, and I want it for my business. And in order to do that, I felt I needed to collaborate with other women who are far ahead of me and who have been doing this, so that I can grow to them, so I can grow into where they are. And collaboration and having your sounding board, not your yes board, but your sounding board of trusted women, or whoever you may feel that you need. But I think women will understand where women are due to the specific issues we have, or specific life situations, not issues. It's the understanding that the collaboration is just the beginning of the benefit for the business, because then it comes back to you as well personally.
Could you take a second, just one and then Kathleen, you'll be next, but take a second and differentiate for us the difference between the sounding board and what was the other thing you had said?
The yes board.
The yes board. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we may have people in our circle who love us, and everything we tell them is great. Yeah. Whatever you do is amazing. Right. They're not really there to give you constructive feedback.
Right.
Feedback that's going to help move you forward. If something doesn't look, for example, I like to use, there's some big company like Gucci, right? They had an ad that was out and it was horrible. It was derogatory in every single way. Clearly they had a yes board, because if they had someone in their boardroom who was a sounding board, they would have said, "Ooh, that's going to offend some people, and maybe you should rethink your wording or the photo." And so your sounding boards always give you that moment of pause and say, "Is this where does this align with who you are, with your mission, with your vision?"
Excellent.
Yes board just says, "Do it."
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Thanks, Christine. Kathleen,
So
your thoughts?
2.5 years ago, I moved to South Florida. So I really started over. I didn't know anybody. People thought I was crazy in California because I knew nobody here. And I knew in my mind, my business was going to be successful regardless, but I dove into it really deep and started meeting all the right people. I mean, I've met Christine, I met Dina, and I just put myself out there and with all guards down and just meeting and networking with people. And to Christine's point, there are your protectors and your feedbackers because we're doing more podcasts. And I have friends now that will call me and not just say, it's great, but they'll give me some feedback on what maybe we can do differently so we get better at it. And I would say I'm almost a well-oiled machine here in South Florida after 2.5 years, but it's because of the organizations I joined and the people I collaborate with. And I have more than a handful of people who really care about me. And they're, talking to other people about my company. They're saying, you got to meet this one. It's just, 20 years in the business, a well-oiled machine, and then I come here. It could have went back and forth, right? And I just had the confidence of, we're going to do this and we're going to make it more successful than California. But again, it's about the village I have around me supporting me. And it's huge. And I have from newbies in the business to people who have been in it 40 years, and I can leverage people because South Florida is very different than California. And, so I have to talk to people about the business and what clients are looking for. So it's just getting out there and meeting people is my big thing.
Mm. All right, who's gonna go? Who wants to go?
I was gonna say for just to remember not to allow the naysayers to make you feel like you're not worthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times as women, we give a lot of weight on other people's opinion of us. And, we don't want to ask the question. We don't want to put ourselves out there because we're afraid of being judged. And I just want to encourage everybody to take that and put it aside. We always think of what if I say this and what if somebody says that? Take that what if out or switch it. Instead of putting a negative after that what if, put a positive. What if it works out? What if you go out to that networking event that you're so scared of going and you meet someone that's going to change your entire, projection of your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid of putting yourself out there because of the opinion of other people. That was a big thing for me. I was always afraid of what if somebody thinks I'm crazy, what if somebody thinks, she doesn't know what she's talking about. You do. You have a whole life experience that you've gone through. And I think that's more valuable than anything that a school or anything else can teach you.
Right.
That's awesome.
It was so funny, Vita, that you brought this up because I was ready to jump in, and
of course you were. You read my mind.
That's right.
And I yours.
So the only thing I want to add to that is what I would call those healthy boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Vita said, I was the same way when it comes to if I should do this, what if somebody doesn't like it? What happens if somebody says something negative about it? How am I going to handle that? You play all those what ifs. And if something doesn't work out the way that you want it to work out, it's okay to shift and pivot and go right instead of left, or go straight. It doesn't matter. It's what you feel is what you need to do. It satisfies and it warms your heart, and it's the path that you want to go down. Nobody else but you.
Yeah.
So
it's your path. Absolutely. It's your path. Yeah.
Go ahead, Meg. Oh, sorry. Regina.
I was just going to say before we go on, Siobhan has commented several times. She says, thankful for you, Christine. So true. Love that. Amazing ladies. I love this chat. She says she's finally asking for help. Pride had me not asking at the expense of my mental health. Takes a village, and you won't know if it'll work if you don't try. Thank you, Siobhan, for your comments and for your participation. We appreciate it. All right. Let's see. Was it Maggie? Is that where we were going next?
Oh, yeah. I love how you teed this up, Regina, because how many of us have throughout our life's journey felt that isolation and that we are alone. I feel for me, it was getting to part of my shift, right? Was getting to that point of responding more, reacting less. And part of that has been not reacting to what's pulling me. And what's pulling me are the yes board people, right? I love that, Christine. Just listening to the people I already had in my world versus pushing myself to go out and find find my people, find the people that were sharing the stories and their wisdom and their experience for the benefit of growing themselves, supporting each other, lifting each other up. And in doing that is where I found my people. And so just getting more to that, pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone into the unknown, and our people will come. Our people will be there.
Well, I want to add to that too, because I think as women, there's so many times in our lives that we feel like we need permission to make that step for ourselves. We have to get to this broken state or an illness before we give ourselves permission to take care of ourselves or ask for help or whatever. And it's like, how do we encourage women to just give themselves permission ahead of that, to be more loving and support themselves in the ways they need instead of waiting until it's reactive to what you said earlier.
Yeah, I like the term guilt-free self-care.
Yeah, that's so true. Marla, I do want to, if I may, just follow up to what you said. I had a situation where I was going through my journey and I had a heart attack. And I've never had any issues in health, so it was a complete surprise. Not that heart attacks are usually not a surprise, they are, but for me, it was even more of a surprise because I know health issues. But what happened is I found myself in a place of, just depression, of, shame and all of that again. And it felt like, here I am, this woman who's got a successful business and she's doing all of these things in the community. And now she's got a heart attack. And I was overweight and I was carrying all of that. And I was embarrassed to say I needed help. And for 3 days after coming out of the hospital, mentally, I was just in a really bad place. I felt like, I'm never going to get through this. Why didn't I lose weight before I got a heart attack? Blaming and shaming myself. And then after 3 days, I really realized I cannot live like this. I can't relive that heart attack every single moment of the day. I need to do something. And that's when I decided, you know what? I got to do what I tell people to do. And it's okay not to be okay, but ask for help. And so I literally had the conversation with, the people that are in my circle, and Dina was one of them, and shared that with, this is how I'm feeling. What do I do? So that collaboration is so important, and it comes in so many different, aspects in our life. And usually when you hear the word collaboration, you think of business, right? But that's not always the case. Collaboration can be with other people, relationships outside of your business. But there's also a collaboration that a lot of us don't think about, and that's within ourselves, right? There's always that side of us that wants better for us. But then there's the other side that's kind of scared of taking that step, right? Or putting ourselves out there, like I said earlier. But if you collaborate with the side of you that wants the better for you, and for me in that moment was, I want to lose the weight. I don't want to be on these medications. I don't want to have another heart attack. I don't want to have, what do I do? And I reached out to people that I knew were going to be that secure place for me to be able to go to and share that. And they were going to give me information. Like Christine said, they weren't going to be the yes people. They would be the soundboard. They would tell me if it's going to work or if it's not going to work. So it's important to remember that, when we think about ourselves too.
I think that's really important for us to think of. Yeah. I love that. Collaborate within yourself.
And I think part of that collaboration too is to be open to receive the support, because a lot of us a lot of women in our network and our people will offer great ideas, or the non-yes board, the sounding board people will come to us and give us good feedback. But sometimes we're like, I got it. I can do this myself. And we try to take it all on. But part of the collaboration is also being open to receiving.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's also because they keep teaching us that, if you take help or you ask for help, then you're weak. And that's not the case.
That's
I
not
actually
the
think it's the opposite. If you ask for help, you're very courageous.
I will just quickly add to that, Vida. I love that you said that, because it is this week when I was going through my breast cancer journey, when I was in the obvious throes of treatment and no hair, and it was like visible to everybody that I was navigating that. Then I felt like I had public permission. It was acceptable to stop and focus on myself and ask for help.
Wow.
But once I got to the other side of that, you look healthy. It's done. Dina and I talk about this all the time.
Yes,
People
we
are
do.
like, yay, you've been through it. It's over now. You can come back as a normal, do all the things.
And that's not the case. That's truly not the case.
Yeah.
Because
And there's a grief. I'm sorry, please, Dina, continue.
There's a part of us that, not a part of us, we're a different person.
Yeah.
We look at things differently now, whether it's cancer, whether it's the heart attack, whether it's diabetes, whether it's a life-altering situation. It doesn't matter what it is. But you look at things differently. And I always say BC and AC, before cancer, after cancer. And unfortunately, we always want to go back to before it. No, we have to learn and pivot and accept, like everything we've just said with business, but also now in everyday life.
Yes.
Because I honestly believe that what we're most afraid of in every avenue of our life, they're all affected.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's knowing what you want and how you feel, and really diving in deep.
Yeah. And wouldn't you agree that there's, particularly in these circumstances you're talking about with the cancer, but also in lots of others, that there's a grief process that's involved in that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that is very true. And I realize now, you guys, that when I was going through those 3 days post a heart attack, I was grieving who I used to be, because now I knew I had to do this new thing. I had to get into this uncharted territory for me, right? And I didn't know how to do that. And I was grieving my old self. Now I'm like, yes, thank God I'm no longer that person, because it served me up to that point. But going forward, I don't want to have that mindset. I don't want to have that, emotions and, all the things that came along with it. So it's important. And the thing that I also want to remind you guys of, and I think you guys would agree, as business owners, we tend to sometimes forget that our business is a part of us. So if we're doing that self-love and healing of ourselves, we in turn are doing that for our business. And people don't think about that sometimes.
Walking the talk.
Yes.
Yeah. I will chime in on the grieving. I think when I left corporate America, I tell this story in my money mindset workshop, that I went from 6 figures to $6 and had to go through that process of how do I continue in life? Like my whole identity was wrapped around the fact that I was the CEO. Like that was my identity. That's who I was.
That's who you were.
Right. That's who I was. I made money. That's all. That's what I was good at.
Yeah.
And then I start this business and I'm like, oh, who am I? What is it that I do? And I'm doing the same things I've done for the last 20 plus years. But I was grieving the loss of my paycheck, my identity, and my value.
And that's a journey.
Yeah.
It's a journey, not an event.
No, and this is that's the one thing that I've taken out of the last 2 years of being a full-time entrepreneur, is that I am more than my paycheck.
Yes.
And I did not believe that was the case.
Mhm.
I didn't believe that. Now I'm on another journey of understanding that I have confidence, but where is my self-worth in that? Right. So differentiating those things and how how they translate into my business, because people can smell fake.
Oh
They
yeah.
smell fake, right? If you don't know who you are, your clients will, or your prospective clients will smell fake, and you have to embrace some of those things that you're not sure about in yourself, so that your clients get the best of you, and you can show up authentically as yourself.
Mhm.
And as women, we undersell or we devalue ourselves. So it's like we too easily undervalue, and we need to step more into that. I love the confidence piece you talked about too.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Great.
Beautiful.
Yes, this has been an amazing conversation, ladies. Would you believe we're pretty much at the end here? We've got maybe
Yeah.
time for one more comment about this, and then we need to move into our wrap up round. If anybody else has just something they're burning to get off their chest.
I would just like to quickly say that there is so much magic. Like I'm just meeting many of you for the first time, right? But there's so much magic in the collective strength of women coming together to talk about these things, about a common purpose. It just inspires all of us,
Right.
Mhm.
in different ways. So
Yes.
I
Excellent.
love that you said that, Maggie. I just want to add this to follow up to that. Remember, especially in business, the competition has to stop. The collaboration is so much more beautiful than the competition. And what belongs to you belongs to you. Nobody away from you.
Yes.
And I agree with you on that, because
Nobody, no
I'm
matter what
always
they
saying,
do. So if they're taking it away from you, it wasn't yours. So be happy, be grateful, thank God. Say, hey, it's okay. What is this for me? Let's get it.
And there's plenty to go around.
Yes.
Yes.
There's plenty to go around.
Kathleen, what did you want to say?
well, I just, people don't hire me because of my education or anything. They hire me because of me, because everybody's always like, well, there's other designers, your competitors. And I said, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I have to remember who I am and why people love me and hire me. I'm not worried about, the competition. And it's about, again, my confidence, not letting the competitors get to me, but it's remembering who I am. And regardless, doing it 20 years, I still, on occasion, have to always remind myself who I am and why I'm here, So I think it's really important.
And that will resonate with your ideal client. With the
Yes.
people, they'll be attracted when we are real and authentic.
Yeah.
And those ideal clients are attracted to us.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. This is wonderful, ladies. So we have run out of time, though. So, Miss Dina, I'm going to turn it over to you to run our wrap-up round. If you will, please have everyone, including yourself, share your final thoughts about collaboration and your contact information. And we're getting lots of applause here from Siobhan.
All right.
And I will put your contact information in the comments while we're doing the wrap-up round. Okay.
Yes. So, final thoughts, ladies. I would love to hear what might have been either an aha moment or something that you want to leave the audience with, that one thought. And tell us how we can get in contact with you. So I'm going to lead it off. My final thought is really about asking. As much as I don't have a problem asking, I do have a problem asking sometimes. It's finding the right person to ask.
Yes.
Because you do have that positive, you do have that negative, and you want to be uplifted with as much positivity as possible. And as the Inner Warrior Coach and the owner of Wellness Warriors for Life, you can reach me by email, dina@wellnesswarriorsforlife.com, or my website, wellnesswarriorsforlife.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. They're all there. So, Kathleen, Final thoughts.
Same as you, Dina. I'm a single full-time mom since my daughter was 3, and I had already started my business, and I never asked for help. I was the gal, I'm a Capricorn, I'm going to do it. I can do it by myself. I will never ask for help. And moving to Florida has changed my life. I asked for help. I've had surgeries. I've had a village help me with that. I have my village building my business, and it's just so nice to have that collaboration with the right-minded people surrounding me right now. So it's just don't be afraid to ask for help, regardless of what it is.
And how can our audience get in contact with you?
Sure. So I'm at Kathleen at kginteriordesign.com, or you can visit our website at kginteriordesign.com, or we're on Instagram at kginspires.
Nice. Very nice. Vita, final thoughts.
I would say that, remember to believe in yourself, even when other people don't believe in you, believe in yourself, and try to talk yourself into it instead of talking yourself out of it. Okay.
Nice.
And I think that's something that has always helped me in this journey of, changing and becoming my new self. And I think it would help others.
And how can we get in contact with you?
Best way to contact me is my cell number, 954-479-6862. And I also have people that can email me at Vida, VIDA, at radiancrcm.com.
Thank you. And Christine, lasting thoughts there.
So one thing kind of outside of the conversation, I talk a lot about intention, right? And setting that. So my big thing is your intentions plus your actions equal magic or progress. So I tell new entrepreneurs that it's great that you're intending to do something, but you have to put an action behind it. And then you will definitely see a result.
Nice.
So,
I love that.
Yeah, that's my thing. I'm so big on intention. It's sickening, I think, at this point, right?
No.
I can talk about it all the time. It's a plan, a process, a procedure, and then you put action to it, and you're sure to reach your goals. You're sure to reach your goals.
And how can we get in contact with you?
You can find me on my website, intentionenterprises.com. You can give me a call at 561-571-1122. I am on Instagram at intention_enterprises. I'm on Facebook at Intention LLC. You can find me on LinkedIn, or you can shoot me an email at Christine@intentionenterprises.com.
Oh, great. Thank you. Now, Marla, what are your final thoughts?
I would just like to say that I think we are all deserving of the life we want, and prioritizing ourselves and finding those people to surround ourselves with that really. I love the thought today. My aha was not a yes board. I love that. I think finding people that hold you accountable to what you really want and desire, because they're going to help you get there versus keeping you stuck in that autopilot or where you already are. So give yourself that permission and just find your people. And you can find me along with Maggie at Love Me Healing, and I'll let her give all the contact information.
All right, Maggie, you're up.
I will just say this whole conversation has been magical, and the finding and defining what collaboration means to you, because to each of us it will look a little different. So collaboration or community, it opens us up to just explore things that we might not consider exploring or pursuing or thinking about, and that influences change. So I just, the power behind that, and to each and every one, encourage you to find your community, find your people, find what collaboration can look like for the good of you, is my takeaway. And I'm saying this to myself too. And community is the foundation of Love Me Healing, bringing these women together to find ways to practice loving themselves forward every day. What does that look like? And it's just the power behind that. So,
and how do we get in contact with you?
So website is lovemehealing.org, and all of the Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, searching for Love Me Healing will get you there.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. This was amazing.
Amazing.
It was
Thank you.
indeed. It was indeed. And the beautiful energy that you each shared as well, as you talked about these situations in your life and how you've changed things in your own life and helped others change their lives. It's just beautiful. Thank you so much for being here today, ladies. And thank you to our viewers for watching. If you know somebody who could benefit from watching this, please be sure and share it with them. And we hope that you'll come back next time to Collaboration Conversations and learn more about how you can change your life and change the world through collaboration. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.